Talofa lava.
It's mid-year 2023, and we are grateful we have made it this far.
In a brief glance, it is always good to see the work of the church in light of the prophecies. After all, our church was born out of fulfilled prophecy, and we must not overlook the fact that our surroundings and every fabric of our existence must be perceived prophetically. So when Revelation 12 verse 17 says, "The dragon was enraged at the woman and went off to wage war against the rest of her offspring," it means God's church will always be the object of Satan's constant attacks. Why? Because the Lord loves His church, and that the Church of Christ, enfeebled and defective as it may be, is the only object on earth on which He bestows His supreme regard.
God's work in American Samoa is striving to survive a huge blow by the foe. An attack that's coming from within is shaking our second year in becoming a mission.
So we ask that we view this report in perspective of the unfortunate circumstances that's happening in our mission. We deeply regret to report that American Samoa Mission suffered the loss of 6 local churches of our 21 local churches to a pro-North American division group that have decided to run and administer their own church affairs and finances without any more affiliation with the American Samoa Mission. It has caused major disruption and division, threatening our progress to achieve our goals and objectives set for this year.
Our growth in terms of membership and finances is severely affected by this issue. As for our membership, no real calculation is possible at this time due to no determined action made to those who have joined the Pro-NAD group. But it is safe to assume that we have a drop in our membership due to the departure of 6 local churches. This goes the same with our tithes and offering. Our financial report has recorded a 9% reduction in our tithes and offerings.
However, many of the faithful believers were able to move forward and were still able to make some strides despite being tested by the fallout of the NAD issue. It is our firm belief that God's grace is the only element that sustained us throughout the past 4 months. And these are just the highlights of many good things that took place in the first 4 months of 2023.
Firstly, our discipleship work was a coordinated effort between mission departmental planned activities and local churches' outreach programs. For example, in the month of March, the youth department, in alignment with the World Youth Week of Prayer and Global Youth Day, had coordinated together with children's ministries and women's ministries and local church personal ministries.
Churches like Bago Bago utilized the children to preach and read out every night. Other churches utilized mainly the youths. On the last Sabbath, children, youth, and all church members went out to reach the community with well-prepared gift baskets filled with basic toiletries, foods, and healthy snacks. The main hospital on island was visited by Sautala Church. The Old People's Home was visited by Yakina and the Fijian Church. The Tongan community in the village of Pavai was visited by the Tongan Filipino Church. The shelter for families in need was visited by Leon Church. The village of Alafal was visited by the Alafal Pathfinders Club. The idea was not to duplicate the ministry's outreach programs, but to coordinate well so the effort to effectively reach out with our available resources is better utilized and collaborated.
Followed by this community presence was the harvest programs by most churches that resulted in the baptism of 24 souls in the month of April. One of the highlights was a baptism of a 79-year-old man named Tali. Tali was of Tongan descent and was living in American Samoa for all his married and working life. He attended an evangelistic meeting ran by the Tongan Filipino Church late last year and was followed up by an ongoing discipleship program that led to his baptism in April. He is now one of the oldest members of the American Samoa Mission.
Overall, our discipleship effort has brought in 52 new souls to the fold in the past 4 months of this year.
We were also blessed by the presence of the TPUM Health Director, Dr. Kwong, who took our local church health leaders on a journey to discover new ways to address health problems in Samoa. The famous 10,000 Toes program was launched on April 1st after a 4-day training session from February 26th to 28th. More than 50 participants enjoyed the seminars and the kickoff celebration.
Yakina Adventist Academy saw an increase in number of students doing well in island-wide academic competitions this school year. In fact, one of Yakina's students represented American Samoa territory in the whole of U.S. Poetry Out Loud competition held in Washington, D.C. University campus.
It is also worth mentioning the progress with our church planting effort. If all goes well, ASM will plant the next church in the village of Lauli. Currently, a non-Adventist family have offered to donate a land for American Samoa Mission.
In the month of May, we had a brief groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of our new mission office. This is another milestone in the making, as this will be the first ever official office of the American Samoa Mission.
Lastly, American Samoa Adventist Media have successfully renewed its FCC license to continue broadcasting Hope Channel for the next 6 years. Also, Assam has secured an assigned ISSN number from the Library of Congress to legally publish its Upumoni magazine. This will enable ASAM to distribute its magazine to libraries, bookstores, or any location. Negotiations with Signs of the Times to translate and publish their published articles on Upumoni magazine has now been finalized and approved.
All in all, we did not stop progressing. We recall the first mention of the word church in the Bible, where Jesus said to Peter that his church is founded on him and the gates of Hades will not overpower it. So the good news is, discipleship efforts and developments that denote the growth of the church did not cease when we're faced with one of the greatest challenges of the work of God in our little territory in the past 4 months.
We dedicated our frail and humble workers to God's care and power and have proven again that the work of God does not merely depend on human might, wisdom, and knowledge, nor the wealth of prominent men and women. We are humbled to declare that God's work in American Samoa has survived the first wave attacks by the enemy in the beginning of this year, and we are even more empowered by the knowledge and assurance that God's church will always prevail.